think we're good.
Good. Steph, did you say we're good?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Welcome, everybody, to the February 28th Citizens Police Review Board. So on this beautiful day today, a little rain, but enjoyed the temperature. First agenda is there anybody that was unable to make it tonight, Ms. Pittenger?
No, Madam Chair, we've not heard from anyone who has indicated they'd be absent tonight.
Okay.
We do note that, however, that Mr. Williams is on a tight schedule, so he will be leaving early, but you will still maintain a quorum.
Thank you.
Also, Dr. Gershio, this is the February 26th meeting.
Oh gosh, thank you. This is not the 28th, right? I'm pushing us through really quickly. Thank you. So the first item is approval of our January minutes. Everybody should have received those about a week or so ago. Has everybody had an opportunity to read those minutes? And if so, may I please have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, sir. Second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we have no new business. But the agenda today is the board business, followed by the case review, followed by the public speaking. So if anybody is interested at the end of the meeting, you have up to 3 minutes. And if you could either raise your hand or put your name in the chat, that would be very helpful to us. Thank you very much. And so our first item then is, since I have no report, I'm going to turn it over to our executive director, Ms. Pittenger.
Madam Chair, good evening, members. Our intake thus far for 2025, we have received a total of 44 complaints. At the last meeting, I indicated we would provide you with further detail on the number of allegations we received last year. And we have a preliminary report on that we have received 466 allegations of alleged misconduct, and those allegations were contained in 220 complaints. The demographics are pretty much the same as they have been consistently over the last several years. 56% were filed by men and 43% were filed by women, at least as they have self-identified themselves. We don't make a judgment on their gender. They tell us. And unknowns was less than 1%. Racially, the distinction is 16% African-American complainants alleging allegations of misconduct. The white component was 5%, well, about 4.5%. And the unknowns were 77%, which is to be expected, because if parties don't want to identify themselves in terms of race and gender, we don't make that decision, and we don't make that judgment. The number of complaints received by zone, I think I reported that last month, or excuse me, but with these preliminary numbers, Zone 3 produced 24% of the complaints that we know of their location. There are some complaints that the particular zone or specialized unit was not identified and was not discovered in the course of any other investigation. So 24% came from Zone 3, 23% came from Zone 1. We have 18% coming from Zone 2, 17% from Zone 5, and 8% coming out of Zone 6. And again, for the last couple of years, those are pretty consistent with, in terms of race, gender, and as well as the police zones. when we go through these with a fine-tooth comb, and we will include the board decisions, the board action on the cases that occurred during 2024. We'll put it all together and we'll give you the whole package. You'll recall that there were a couple of controversial incidents that happened going into our last meeting in January. They actually happened the end of December. As a result of that, there was a significant effort to get some explanation from the Bureau and from the Department of Public Safety. And Mr. Davis, our member, Mr. Davis, on behalf of the NAACP, and Mr. Stevens for BPEP, did arrange for and did convene a meeting with the Assistant Chief Ragland and the Public Safety Director Schmidt. And that discussion, and I believe Mr. Davis, since you were significant in this, you might want to add to it. But the consensus seemed to be that we would wait until investigations were completed before further conclusions were drawn, or there was any assumption that there was something untoward that occurred in those two particular incidents. Members, that you received summaries of both of those cases in this month's packet. And I believe some of the preliminary hearings are now going on. So our investigators are attending that today. One of our investigators was in court from, I guess, about 9 o'clock until 12:30 this afternoon on one of those cases. So they're evolving and we're keeping up with them. I see, and I'm going to deviate here. We last month discussed the relationship between ICE and the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. We recognize that the city has said they're not going to cooperate with ICE. And this is something that comes up every once in a while. And because of the federal effort to deal with immigration issues, there's some controversial things going on with police departments across the country. So we reached out and asked Acting Chief Ragland if he could come to this meeting because he couldn't come last month. He is out of town. But he has designated, and I'm very pleased that Acting Chief Marty Devine is here for the purpose of having that discussion and to describe to you in further detail the particulars of the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police's unbiased policing policy. So Acting Chief, if you'd like to take the mic.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
I'm sorry. I missed your question. I hit a button to join the panel and it kind of cut you out a little bit. I apologize.
I was just trying to be respectful and introduce you and welcome you on behalf of the board.
Well, thank you.
Last month we had discussed the relationship between ICE and the Bureau, recognizing that there was a commitment from the city not to overtly cooperate with ICE. And in discussion with Acting Chief Ragland, and from our experience in the past years, that has been a consistent position of the city of Pittsburgh, not to cooperate actively with ICE, recognizing that it's not a policing issue and it's a civil matter, and that it's also outside of your jurisdiction as Pittsburgh Bureau of Police. And Acting Chief Ragland did indicate that the unbiased policing is what is the guideline for the officers, and that you were available and willing to come tonight to further discuss that and explain it to us so we have a better understanding of that relationship and how you're managing officers within that policy. And of particular interest was how the officers who were detailed to task force activities, particularly DEA, if there's any conflict or a problem with or expectation that they would engage with ancillary activities that may involve ICE. So thank you, Acting Chief Devine, for coming tonight.
You're welcome. Do you want me to dive into this now?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Yes,
yes, I can talk on behalf of the immigration potential concerns. We will not be participating, as you had said, in anything regarding enforcing federal law. We do not have jurisdiction to enforce those laws. We will not be out looking for people in that are here illegally and running. If we suspect somebody to be here illegally, we will not be out proactively looking and running through NCIC to see if they were wanted. The only time that we may encounter them or run them is if there's reasonable suspicion to believe that a crime is about to occur or is occurring. We can stop and obtain information from the individuals, and it's just a normal course of business that we run the individual through NCIC to see if there's a state warrant for them. If it comes back that there is not, however, if there is an immigration warrant for them, we are not allowed to transport them to the Allegheny County Jail for holding. We have to notify ICE, the phone number provided through NCIC, call them, and to see if they're going to come, if the person is here illegally, they're going to come and take custody of the person. And in the past, I know there wasn't a set time that we would wait for ICE, but would have to be a reasonable amount of time. And if ICE couldn't get there within that time period, then we would just try to obtain as much information from the individual that we have stopped and then release them and give that information to ICE. However, if there is a state arrest and state charges are filed, then if there's a detainer regarding their immigration status, then we will do our normal job and take them to the Allegheny County Jail if warranted. And then from there, somebody would have to make, I don't know if we would or if the jail would make the notification that this individual is in custody, and then they could get him from there. As far as the task force officers, they will not be participating. It was brought to my attention, but I did not get this confirmed from any of the federal agency heads that that it's possible that some of the federal agents from the different bureaus were going to be helping ICE with I guess, for the lack of a better term, rounding up illegal immigrants. Once again, I didn't get that confirmed from any agency heads. However, our task force officers that are assigned to these federal agencies will not be participating in any of that activity.
Terrific.
I mean, it's just, now I'm sure I saw some familiar faces on this panel, and they could speak to what I'm about to say too. But I remember, like, back when I first got hired in the early 2000s, there wasn't, from time to time, we'd run into somebody through the course of an investigation or a stop, and the individual happened to be an illegal immigrant. There was a ICE warrant for that individual, and same thing we do now. We make notification. I think back then we gave about 20 minutes for ICE to show up. If they didn't, we just let them go. Now, that's what we did in Zone 1. I'm guessing other zones did that too.
Yeah. I remember Chief Harper had met with the community at large that was concerned at the time because of the ICE activity had escalated so much in the city, and he had assured them at that point, and it was really contingent on whether or not there was a state issue that would be appropriate in your jurisdiction. But they weren't going out and looking for the folks or trying
Absolutely
to identify
not.
to turn them over.
No, we're busy enough.
Yes, you are. Members, is there anything else, Chief, that you would like to impart with regard to the unbiased policing policy?
Just that, I mean, it starts at the academy. I mean, we receive training on that. I mean, that's part of our daily business now. I mean, everybody should be treated equally. We hold people at a higher standard to treat everybody equally, regardless of race, color, religion. We're all human beings, and we got to treat everybody just as human beings. And I mean, one of the things that, and I know this isn't in the policy, but this really strikes home with a lot of people. When Chief Ragland talks to the new recruit class, one of the first things he says is, you know, people aren't calling you to tell you that they have or calling the police to tell you that they're having the best day of their life. Usually it's one of the worst days of their lives. And to treat these people with respect and to treat them as if they're a family member or how you would want a family member to be treated. And I believe that goes a long way.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Dr. Gershio, if you'd like to solicit questions.
So, members, do we have any questions for the?
I have maybe a statement, maybe not so much a question. It might be formed into a question. So,
Okay. Is my camera on? Not to interrupt you, because I don't know how the Zoom works. This is like the second time I've ever used it.
Yeah, we can't see you.
I don't know how to turn it on. I apologize.
I was going to tell you how good you look there, Acting Chief.
Hey, thanks. Hey, it's the best thing I heard all day.
So what I was about to make a statement, I think it would be wise to just mention, because there's a lot of swirl out there as to, I mean, this is a hot debated topic, and I can appreciate Acting Chief Devine coming and giving us some understanding about Pittsburgh Police and their involvement in such matters, and I appreciate the approach. But I do think it's wise to mention that and I'm going to pose this to Acting Chief Devine. These administrative warrants or processes, I understand the Pittsburgh Police stance on this, unbiased policing. But in so much where there is an incident, there could be an incident that is a matter of public safety, then the Pittsburgh Police will participate in making sure and ensuring that the public safety is of utmost importance, meaning not the administrative just taking somebody in custody because they're here illegally. If it turns into a public safety matter of whatever that may be, fleeing and eluding, there's a chase, there's a concern for safety, harm to others and the officer, then there would be some participation. If I'm not mistaken, the Pittsburgh Police would. It's not the immigration enforcement. That becomes a matter of public safety. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So the citizens and the residents of the city of Pittsburgh, their safety is our number one priority.
Excuse me, Acting Chief Raymond here.
Hey, Raymond.
I was fortunate to be at the Zone 5 public safety meeting a week or two ago, and Acting Chief Ragland was there, and he had come and he had fielded some questions from the community. I was just curious if there is intention, I guess, how is this being communicated to the community? Because I know there's a lot of folks in the community who are afraid and not certain of the Pittsburgh Police's policy or stance on this right now. And just curious, is that something that will be going out through other zone safety, public safety committees or any other mechanisms that you all were looking to share this so that folks in the community will know that they do not need to worry about, well, I want to say not worry about, but know the policy that you guys are putting forward?
I haven't been, well, there hasn't been any discussion on specifically sending something out to the citizens of Pittsburgh. However, I know some of the command staff, when they attend the community meetings, they're relaying that message. Today, an email was supposed to go out with guidance because, I mean, this is kind of, so when this issue first got brought up, we knew there was, I don't know if it was policy or if it was a chief order, but whatever it was extremely stale. So Chief Ragland's at the Major City Chiefs Association conference, and I guess he was talking to some individuals there, and basically the same thing that we've been doing over the years. It was relayed to us, and it was sent in an email, and an email was supposed to go bureau wide. And when an email goes bureau wide, you can pretty much bet that it's going to get sent to the media. So I'm sure that the people that watch the news will be becoming aware of it very soon, our stance on this issue. And if anyone has any questions or concerns, When Chief Ragland comes back, that is probably something we need to discuss as far as sending something out. I mean, he might already discuss it with some of the other command staff. I have not discussed it with him. My role normally is I oversee the investigations unit, and a lot of well, I'm the only other chief with them, so yeah, we should have discussed it. But once again, like I said before, we have a lot going on, and I don't know if he spoke with some of our administrative command staff to talk about sending that out, and I just wasn't part of it. I don't know, but that is something that needs to be discussed.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I
Yeah, no
think,
problem.
I think that this might be timely because I have heard that other municipalities are not taking your example and are working closely with ICE and other federal entities around immigration. So I think, yeah, distinguishing, letting people, at least letting city residents know, or I guess even county residents who might be in the city, that might be worthwhile for the folks to hear that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions for the acting chief?
Somebody has their hand up. Gil, Mr. Perez.
Pardon me?
Mr. Perez in the audience.
Madam Chair, are you taking any public participation at this time?
So that will be at the end.
Okay, that's it. That's
I apologize. I can wait till the end, but not, I couldn't turn on my audio or anything there for a while until I raised my hand. So
I guess
Let me ask, may I ask a question? Mr. Perez, are you here with Casa San Jose?
yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Madam Chair, we had extended an invitation to Casa San Jose if they wish to come tonight and have any discussion with the board or express any concerns that they may have with local situations. And we were uncertain that anyone was coming from Casa San Jose. So perhaps when Assistant Chief, or I'm sorry, today your Acting Chief Divine has completed, then we could turn to Mr. Perez for the concerns presented by that they may be experiencing with Casa San Jose and how we can be of assistance to that organization.
Okay. So,
I have one question left for Chief Divine.
okay.
Yes.
Are you concerned, and have you folks done some anticipatory planning if the feds were to come forward and demand that you be deputized to do, you know, their work, to do ICE work or any other federal activity?
I'm sorry. You're asking, would we participate? Absolutely not. I can tell you that, so as you probably know, maybe not, but so our TFOs are all deputized as quasi-federal agents, so they can enforce federal law. They are not going to participate. We have what we call a special deputization too, where some of our investigators receive that through U.S. Marshals, where they can also enforce some federal laws. That's more or less to cover themselves a little bit when they're out doing an operation. And there's a federal agency or the federal agency operation, not anything immigration related, during other investigations. I can tell you that there will not be any participation regarding anybody that is deputized as under the guidance of being a quasi federal agent, or not federal agent, but being able to enforce federal laws.
Appreciate that.
So no, we will not be, if they come in and say, hey, we need, you know, the whole Pittsburgh Bureau of Police to be deputized and help us. I mean, to be honest with you, we're having a hard time helping ourselves with everything that's going on in our manpower shortage. We're getting by. However, we got enough to worry about, and it's not going to happen.
Appreciate that very much, Chief. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions for the acting chief? And again, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chief.
So much. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you guys are overworked, so we truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. Thanks again.
Yeah, no problem. I hope I was able to answer all your questions and clear anything up that might be concerning.
I think you did for us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Alrighty.
Is that it? Bye.
Bye.
Have
Bye,
a good
Chief.
evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Beth, any more on your report?
Yes, but this was where I will ask your indulgence to move to Mr. Perez,
Okay.
who is here at our invitation. And with the issue related to what Chief Devine just came forth to speak about, and that is the role or the at this point the experience between the communities and Pittsburgh Bureau of Police and the effect or the relationship with ICE. We have had it just clarified that they are not participating in any ICE activities for the sake of assisting ICE in their mission, with certain qualification, of course, as Chief described. But Mr. Perez, we know that, you representing Casa San Jose, we are here as a community-wide support system to foster an appropriate, safe, and respectful relationship between Pittsburgh Bureau of Police and the people who live in our community, which of course includes the community you're representing. And we extend to you the support and the assistance that we can provide to you and your constituents, given the tough times right now, the difficult times, and I'm sure the very scary times. So perhaps, Mr. Perez, appreciate you being here. If you could describe if there is a particular tension right now, and if you have concerns related to the relationship of or the practices of Pittsburgh Police as it relates to the current situation with ICE and the immigration reform.
Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Yes.
Okay. So I had hoped to be able to ask Chief Devine to try to clarify a couple of things for me, points that he had made in his presentation. So he's not here now. But I can just share with you some concerns we currently have. We're gratified to hear that that they are not going to be enforcing federal immigration law, and they are not going to be cooperating with ICE in terms of making arrests. So that's terrific, and we're very pleased to hear that. We do still have some concerns around whether this policy is going to be really enforced with respect to possibly other personnel calling ICE in violation of that policy. So would have asked some questions about, are there things in place to deal with that? If it should turn out that there are officers who are reporting undocumented people to ICE in violation of the policy, are you prepared to take the appropriate steps to address that? So that would have been one question I would want to hear from him about. And then the other concern is what happens to people when they get to the jail? Are there officers at the jail who are calling ICE? So we have some concerns about that as well. I understand that's not entirely his jurisdiction, right? So, but I would have been interested to hear what he had to say about that. And then the other question I had was there seemed to be some narrow area of cooperation that he sort of spoke to that would have been helpful for me to get some kind of clarification on. So he did talk about holding people for a period of time when ICE has a retainer for them. And he said, well, we give them 20 minutes, and then if they don't come, then we release this person. I would like to know more about that, because I don't know why they would hold them for 20 minutes. If there's no cooperation supposed to be going on. So those are the sort of the things that we still have questions and concerns about. We're telling people you're relatively safe within the city limits. Outside the city limits, you're not safe. So we're gratified that at least in the city, people can take some comfort in that. But we still have a few concerns in terms of how the policy is going to be implemented.
Well, Mr. Perez, that's why we're here.
Okay.
If you have concerns with regard to officers going rogue and making private phone calls and reporting people, then we need to know about that.
Okay.
Because we can pursue that on your behalf, on behalf of the community at large, because that would
Okay.
be contrary to their standing policy and their practices. You are correct. Anything that happens at the Allegheny County Jail is under the auspices of Allegheny County, and it is outside of the Pittsburgh police jurisdiction. If they take someone to the jail, they're taking them there, as Chief described, pursuant to a finding of cause to arrest them. So they're not taking them to the jail because of an immigration issue or an ICE issue or that sort of thing, and they're not taking them there because they find a detainer on somebody, right?
Okay.
And I think at least probably 10 or 12 years ago, when we had a time where there were some concerns that Pittsburgh police were cooperating with ICE and they were going after people. I think that the major issue there was driver licenses. And they were picking people up and then they were calling ICE, and it was terrible. And people were frightened and scared and worried, and some people were deported. At the time, Police Chief Harper met with the community at large, gave their assurances very similar to what we heard from Chief Devine today, a precursor to the unbiased policing policy that the Bureau has ultimately adopted. And that kind of took some of the tension down. And I think that it's in the same spirit that Chief Devine was referencing, that they're not going to overtly engage with anything that would be furthering ICE's mission. But if there is cause or there is suspicion to engage with an individual, they're going to do it because as they have to. But the distinction is clear: a civil versus a criminal matter, and the police are going to respond. Pittsburgh police are going to deal with any suspected criminal activity, but they're not going to deal with a civil problem or a civil issue. Holding people for 20 minutes, I don't know. I mean, I certainly, we can follow up on that if we know of anyone to whom that's happened. And if you do,
can I interrupt for a sec? I think what he was talking about was years ago. If we called them because there was a retainer and they didn't show up in 20 minutes. I don't know what's happening today though, but I think he was referencing back when he first came on. So years ago.
Yes. I think you're right, Ms. Dixon. It was a retrospective. I didn't get the impression they were holding them now, waiting, or that they would do that. Like their point is they're not going to call them.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
And I think another question Mr. Perez had was around the deputizing and where they might work with them. I don't want to speak for him, but what I took from that was there are other instances where they do work with federal authorities. I'm thinking of DEA, other task force where they do work with the federal agents on criminal matters, not civil procedures such as ICE and stuff like that. I think he was referencing that when he said that they are deputized, not as deputies of ICE, which is not the same as working with the other federal agencies. But don't quote me on that, but that was what I perceived.
Well,
from that.
and that's how I heard it as well. I heard that also.
That's sort of what I took out of it.
I think he was also making clarity that there is in deputizing those individuals for those tasks, they are stating that they would uphold the federal laws, but he made a distinction in saying even their deputized, the way I heard it, the deputized people who might be working in those special task force and DEA and the like still would not be doing this the civil matters of enforcing the immigration portion. That's what I heard him saying, even currently
Uh-huh.
for those who are
Yeah.
deputized.
Any other questions? Concerns again, Mr. Perez, please, we are here. Beth and her staff are here to help in any way they can, so please reach out. Hopefully you won't need to, but if you do, please know that's an option for you.
Okay, I will most definitely share that with Monica Ruiz. I'm sort of here in her place. She's the executive director of CASA, so you may be hearing from her as well.
And before you leave, Mr. Perez, Ms. Sherry Bridget is our community liaison, and she has been in touch with your organization.
Okay,
And she is readily available. If it would be helpful for her to come forth and meet with you guys, or, you know, whatever she can do, she's readily available and accessible, as of course we are at the office. But I know she was very much interested and concerned about getting Casa San Jose involved here, that you understood that we were here to support and assist you guys.
okay. Her name is Sherry Bridget?
Yes.
Yes, I can call Andrea, the coordinator, and I believe she has my cell phone number, but I can call and give her my cell again, and so that she can pass it on to you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do think, I don't know, I know Sherry and I both were at the Race and Peace and Justice, what is it, Race and Justice Summit this past weekend. I'm not sure if you were in the session with Casa San Jose, and but Ms. Pittenger, your name was referenced by the discussion about possibly getting the Know Your Rights pamphlet that we've distributed in the past, I guess, translated into Spanish. And I don't know, Mr. Perez, if you have any say in that. I did talk with Monica about that. She expressed an interest in that, or the capability of doing that. I don't know who or how that needs to happen, but it seemed like that was something I think that was in all parties' interest. Don't know if you had heard about that. Ms. Pittenger, I don't know if you had heard any more about that as well.
Mr. Robinson, Mr. Stevens had reached out on Saturday in the course of that workshop, and it is not translated as of yet, but we were actually hoping to produce a small video that would be readily available, as well as the pamphlet itself, You and the Police, is what we were referring to. But to do something that could be easily translated into a visual in addition to the printed copy.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, the video would be, that would be really cool.
So Beth, we are getting the brochure in Spanish.
Yeah, if Casa San Jose can help us accomplish that, we've had things translated before that were on our website. I'm not sure that it's up there now. It may have been lost in translating. And no, I'm sorry, in movement of documents. But what we need is someone who is willing to help us, and that can translate it to the appropriate vernacular, so that it means something to people. It's just not a technical translation. So maybe Mr. Perez, you could help us with that, if you could advise Sherry.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll follow up with Sherry about that.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
All righty. Perez, any other questions, concerns? Okay. Are you still there? Mr. Perez?
Yes, I'm still here. Should I leave?
Now, do you have any other questions or concerns for us?
I could go on for a long time, but this was great. Thank you. I'm good.
Again, the message is that we're here. So if you have any issues, folks have issues, please have them reach out. And then
Will
you're
do.
gonna be working with Sherry, sounds like relatively soon, to get things moving there too with understanding rights.
Yeah.
All right, no, you don't have to leave the meeting. It's open to everybody, so feel free.
Okay.
All righty, Beth, any more on your
Yes,
report?
ma'am. Okay, thank you. The other controversial issue going around in the city right now is that of the appointment of a permanent or a regular chief of police. City Council has asked for community advice related to that process, and as they deliberate on a nomination of Mr. Ragland, who's currently the acting chief of police, to the regular position, they have come to the community. Mr. Davis, as a member here, also in terms of his efforts to, on behalf of the NAACP, to encourage a public vetting of the nominee, did come to fruition, where the council members, 3 of the council members, did call for a meeting to solicit that advice and to help structure a community vehicle in which that advice could be gathered and then shared with council. And then council will conduct its confirmation interview and conduct a public hearing of the nominee. The consensus coming out of that was that the public safety councils in most zones are active, or some are not real active, but they have the widest net to gather their citizens in their zone area and to solicit that kind of advice regarding the qualities that the community is looking for in their next chief of police. So it was agreed that there would be 6 community forum meetings for that purpose. They will be facilitated through the zone public safety councils. BPEP, the NAACP, and the CPRB have agreed to co-sponsor those meetings. And at the end of the, I'm not quite sure how we're going to facilitate the end result, gathering the input from people in all of those zones and presenting it to council without it becoming a distraction or too much information. But the planning group is, they're very good and they know how to do these things. They're community organizers. So hopefully that can be done. I don't know, Mr. Davis, if you want to expound on that, because you were so instrumental in causing council to pay attention to your request.
Mr. Davis, are you there?
Hey, Beth, I believe, and Dr. Gershi, I believe his mic is not working. I think he
okay.
texted me. That's what he said in the chat.
Okay.
But he is on.
If you can hear us and you want to put something in the chat, Mr. Davis, please feel free to do so, and we can all look at it from that venue. All right, Beth, you want to continue and I'll watch?
Continue. Our solicitor has texted me that he's trying to get into this meeting and he's not been able to. I haven't found him to admit him, so I will just follow up with. Last month, we indicated we were trying to establish a meeting with the city law department to further discuss the access and the cooperation that we're supposed to be receiving from the city of Pittsburgh and the Bureau of Police.
Right.
We have tried again a couple of times. We now are looking at somewhere in the middle of March to have a meeting with the city solicitor, though they have asked what particular complaint are we investigating that we need information on. This is something that they've done in the past. They try to limit our access to information solely to a complaint specific, and that we produce everything we know about that complaint before they give us anything. We're not going to do that. We are not going to do that. You are entitled under the city code, and more recently authorized under the Home Rule Charter referendum from 2020, that you are to expect the full cooperation and participation of the Bureau, OMI, and the City of Pittsburgh in general, Department of Public Safety. So that's what we're trying to get a meeting with the city solicitor, as I said, in sometime mid-March. And if we cannot come to some resolution, then the options are going to be having to go and enforce subpoenas. Prefer not to have to get into that. We have a common interest here, and that's service to the people of the city of Pittsburgh. And if the administration doesn't want to do that, then we will have to go forward and find and ask the court to do that on our behalf, so that we can conduct these investigations in a comprehensive manner, so that you have the most pertinent information as you deliberate on these cases that we bring to you. Among the issues is access to body-worn camera video that may not have anything to do with any criminal investigation, so it shouldn't be shielded. Computer-aided dispatch reports we're not getting anymore. Basic police incident reports we're not getting anymore. We're not getting much of anything from the city right now. And so that's been a tremendous impediment for our investigators, to say nothing of how frustrating it is for them. Their workarounds are not producing as much as they need. And it's just become a matter of where we're at the end now. Either going to cooperate like the law tells you to, or we're going to go and ask somebody to interpret the law and assist you in fulfilling your mission. And we'll let you know when that happens, when that meeting happens, of course, and report back to you at our March meeting. Our staffing issue, we have one candidate who is pending a background investigation. And if that goes well, then you can anticipate an appointment to the investigator position soon. And we have moved to open a second investigator position, which we have allocated for, but we have not, obviously, we've not identified anyone for appointment to that position. We're waiting for authorization from personnel. The meet and greet that we discussed is scheduled for April's meeting. I believe it's April 22nd. That meeting will be at the Grayson Center up on the hill. There will be, it's an opportunity for everyone here to mingle, to invite the public, and to encourage our community partners to really encourage their constituents and neighbors and anybody and everybody to come to that event. There's parking there. We'll have a light fare. Stephanie has made arrangements so that there will be some snacks, and an opportunity to have just after your board business is concluded, an opportunity to just mingle and get to know each other.
Beth, besides being on our website, where else would that be announced?
The social media that we have.
Okay.
But we'll also ask our community partners like the NAACP, BPEP, all of the people that we've worked with, the public safety councils, everybody that Sherry goes to see, all of those aspects of our community interactions will be tapped and told about this, so that we can encourage a good turnout. Miss Bridget, our community liaison, has drafted a general approach to community outreach. Miss Bridget, do you want to do a quick rundown, because I'm taking up a lot of the board's time? We can just give them a quick overview and we can discuss it further in March.
Yeah, I can just read it real quick. Okay, I wrote our 2025 engagement plan. The purpose is to provide outreach to the Pittsburgh community to make sure the citizens who reside, work, or visit in the city of Pittsburgh have a positive interaction with the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police and make them aware of their options in case of a negative encounter. I'll attend public safety meetings in zones 1 through 6. I apologize. I'll attend neighborhood community meetings throughout the city of Pittsburgh, because it seems like each neighborhood has their own community meetings separate from the public safety meetings. Also attend community events, example, the citywide public safety meeting I went to in January, the Racial Justice Summit, Open Streets, Juneteenth, etc. I'll reach out to various social service agencies and nonprofits. I'll reach out to various, the chambers of commerce, local businesses, and schools. I'll pass out more CPRB pamphlets, interact with diverse groups and people throughout the city, and provide resources and referrals for people needing assistance, and also be of assistance to the investigators in whatever they need out in the community. And if you have any questions or need me to add anything, just let me know.
Sounds great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
With that, I will be happy to answer any questions or provide whatever I can to you if you have a need for any information that I know. Otherwise, that's it for me, Dr. Garcia. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, members? Already, don't have any unfinished business, or at least I don't. Any other members? Unfinished or old business? Right. Does anybody have any new business? And again, just a reminder that it can be introduced, but not deliberated until the next meeting. Okay, hearing none, we will then move to the case reviews. As soon as I could pull those up, I'll be ready. Alrighty. So moving on to the case reviews, we have a total of 14 cases this month, and we have, screen is low here. We have 5 for full investigation. It's number 037-25ED, 23-25ED, 018-25. Oh, lost. Where was it? 0185-25, 010-25, and 004-25ED. Do I have a motion? Need a motion to move those?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Authorize the full investigation.
Alrighty, and do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Ready. Guys, my screen has now just frozen. Okay, thanks, Sharon. All right, thanks, Steph. We did the full investigation, so hold on. Sorry, guys, my screen has just frozen, and I cannot pull it up. Jesus. Steph, can you step in here?
Yeah, you don't have to, I have it on the screen. Can everyone see it?
Can you share the document, Stephanie, and not the screen? It's very small. And while you're doing that, the technical side of that, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I don't know if we can query Mr. Davis as to the status of his voting tonight, since we can't hear him and we can't see him.
Yeah, you're
It would
gonna,
be good.
yeah, put it in the chat.
I'm not seeing any chat from him. And I
Yeah.
just want to be sure we capture his vote if, so that it's a matter of record or it's not. Well, that's much better for visual. Thank you, Stephanie.
Is anybody seeing anything out there from Mr. Davis? I see that he's on, but I know he can't speak, so. Dalen,
not-
if,
He's
ahead.
not said anything in the chat. I did talk with him earlier in the chat. It was 6:30 he sent. So he is.
Okay, we have quorum without Mr. Davis, correct?
Yes. He's the fifth. Yes, we have quorum.
Okay. Alrighty, so we've done full investigation, correct? And so now we have
Yes, 30 day.
an extension of full investigation, and there are 4 of those. Case 002-25-ED, case 001-25-ED, case 2082-24, and the final one, case 177-24. Do I have a motion? Anybody?
They voted for Donald Trump.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We have no cases that are unfounded, and then we have 2 cases that are unsustainable, and that's case 0174-24, case 173-24. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
I will second.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We have none for other, and we have 3 that are for suspension, right? Case,
Correction, there's only 2. I'm sorry.
okay. 2 is for suspension, case number 061-24 and 161-24. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
I will second.
Thank you. Discussion?
So I did have a quick question. So I see on the 16124, it authorizes suspension until March 2025.
Correct.
Is there any timeline on the other one, or is it just says until material evidence is resolved?
Now we're waiting for the evidence. I suspect, anybody want to address that?
It's related to the lack of cooperation from the city.
Ah, boy. Okay. Thank you.
And
All
some
right,
of these-
so go ahead.
No, that's okay. I'm sorry. Never mind.
We have a motion. It's been seconded. We had any more on the discussion? Beth, do you need to add anything?
No, thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. And I believe that is it for our case. Oh, no, I'm sorry. And these are the 13 that are out there, that are the summaries. And this is what we're going to invite people to, right? Are these folks going to be contacted to come to the meeting if?
Wait,
The
is
rude and
that these?
discourteous people.
Yeah.
The rude and discourteous people will receive a letter inviting them, an email and a phone call.
Okay.
That's not these cases, though, is it? Or at least not all of them.
No, these are
No.
just the suspended ones.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have 13 suspensions.
And those
Oh,
are for
suspensions.
updating. They're continued. They're just updating that they remain in suspension. You've taken action on these some time ago.
Oh, right. And does anybody have any questions to these 13 that are still hanging out there? Okay. So they're just FYI at this point.
Yes.
Okay. Ready? Now let me see if I lost the agenda on this craziness over here. I think I did.
Madam Chair, I don't know if you recognize that Ms. Terry Shields has joined.
And I think she's been here since the beginning, correct?
No, but she joined about 15 minutes into it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So,
You're welcome.
Terry. Alrighty. So again, for everybody and out there in social land also, our next meeting is at 6 p.m. March 25th. So 6 p.m. And this will be by Zoom. And then our April one will be in person. Is that correct, Executive Director Pittenger?
Yes, Madam Chair, it's Zoom and remote in March, and then on-site at the Grayson Center, April 22nd at 6 o'clock.
And so if people want to get that on their schedule early enough, I guess that would be very helpful. Now, this is the time for public comment. Do we have anybody? I'm looking in the chat here.
There's no attendees. They all left.
Okay. Thank
One
you.
was Mr. Perez, and one was the Philadelphia civilian oversight.
They've been coming a lot lately, huh?
You've seen them on
we're-
before?
I thought we saw them last month. Didn't I see them last month?
Somebody was on. I don't know if it was them. Do you remember, Beth?
Do not recall. We can check the record though. But we did meet with our colleagues from Philadelphia, and we agreed tentatively to have some regularity to those meetings, maybe quarterly. Maybe build in a field trip or two so we could go back. Our staff could go see them and they could come here, just to develop some camaraderie, since they're the only two largest civilian oversight agencies in the Commonwealth. There are a couple of little ones. I don't even know if the little ones are still in existence. State College was one that had some substantive structure to it. City of Duquesne, I think, has fallen. I think they're not doing it anymore. But anyway, it would be wise to do. And we had a nice cordial meeting yesterday with the colleagues from Philadelphia. And I saw that we had their liaison joining us tonight, which was nice.
I mean,
And
we've had
Thursday nights.
Yeah, we've had a very good relationship with them over the years, right? I mean, it's been a very good.
We have. They've gone through some turmoil organizationally. They were, you may recall that they were the creation of an executive order by former Mayor Rendell of Philadelphia. I think it was in '94. They were created under an EO. Then they went through some reorganizing and efforts of the city to pull them in, limit their independence. A lot of crazy political stuff that happened for them.
Mm-hmm.
This recently in 2020, I believe it was, they had a referendum that again changed their structure to the commission structure that they have now. And they're rebuilding their identity. They're rebuilding their protocols and everything. They have 9 members. They have 4 that are seated, and they are awaiting 5 new members. So they're going through a lot. So we can be supportive of them. It's kind of nice to have them back to doing what they do. But we'll meet with them and do whatever we can. They're much larger than we are. But
Do
we
they
have
have-
some expertise that might be beneficial to share.
Do they do their appointments sort of like we do, where, you know, the mayor has so many appointments, council has so many appointments, or we don't know?
No, they don't do it that way. There's a bigger rigmarole attached to them. There's selection committees and it's more complicated than ours, if you can imagine that, but it is.
Thanks. Thank you for that clarification. Do I have a motion to adjourn at 7:09 PM?
I'll
Make a
that
motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Folks, thank you very much. We'll see you on March 25th by Zoom and in